Meet two families, the Smiths and the Johnsons. They lived in the same town. Their houses were much alike. Think nice, sturdy brick homes. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. A pretty yard for the kids. Both families worked hard. They earned their paychecks. They wanted to protect their biggest asset. That asset was their home. This is a smart goal. A very smart goal indeed. Everyone should protect their home. Now let's talk about the Smiths. They were good people. They always looked for ways to save money. This is often a good habit. We teach you to save money. But sometimes trying to save a little bit can cost you a whole lot more. They shopped for home insurance. They looked for the cheapest policy they could find, the absolute lowest price. They believed all insurance was basically the same thing. Folks, this is a common dangerous mistake. Then there were the Johnsons. They were also good, hard-working people. They also believed in being wise with their money. Being wise is not always about being cheap. They understood that true value is not always the lowest price tag. So, they took their time with insurance. They asked a lot of questions. They wanted to understand what their policy actually covered. They wanted real protection. This is the right way. This is the smart way. Both families made their mortgage payments on time. Good. Both families paid their property taxes. Also good. Both families bought home insurance policies. This also seems good on the surface. But folks, the devil is in the details. Always. One family, the Smiths, focused only on that low premium. The other family, the Johnsons, focused on true coverage. One was setting up for peace, the other for potential pain. It's all about those policy details. Let's break down the Smiths' insurance policy. It was cheap. Dirt cheap, actually. It just barely met the minimum requirements for their mortgage lender. They felt pretty good about that low monthly payment. But what coverage did they really get for that low price? They got basic dwelling coverage. Just the basics. Their liability limits were very, very low. They decided to skip replacement cost coverage for their belongings. It'll never happen to us, they probably thought. Famous last words, aren't they? The Smiths policy also came with a very high deductible. This helped keep that premium down, but it meant a big bill if they ever filed a claim. They had zero coverage for sewage and water backup. Absolutely none. They didn't think it was necessary. Their lawsuit protection was the bare minimum required. Just enough to satisfy the bank, not enough to truly protect them. They didn't really understand loss of use coverage, so they skipped that too. They were fixated on the monthly cost, not the potential financial storm. Now let's look at the Johnsons' policy. Yes, it cost them more each month. There's no denying that, but they knew exactly why it cost more. They chose replacement cost coverage. This was for their home and for their personal belongings. This means if their stuff was destroyed, the insurance would pay for new stuff. Not just the depreciated value of their old used items. That's a huge difference, folks. A really big, important difference. It impacts your ability to recover. The Johnsons also made sure they had excellent lawsuit protection, far above the minimum. They had robust loss of use coverage too. This meant if a disaster made their home unlivable, their insurance policy would help pay for temporary housing, a hotel, a rental, whatever they needed. And critically, they specifically added coverage for sewage and water backup. They knew a little extra premium now could save them from financial ruin later. They were being proactive and smart. One spring, a major storm hammered their town. Torrential rains fell for days. This caused widespread flooding and serious problems for many homeowners. The Smiths woke up one morning to a complete disaster. Their basement was flooded. Not just a little dampness, folks, we're talking inches of nasty, contaminated water. It was a sewer backup made worse by the storm. Their cheap insurance policy offered them no help. Zero. Zilch. Nada. The adjuster said, "Sorry, not covered." The Smiths had to pay for everything out of their own pockets. The entire cleanup cost thousands. Draining the water, sanitizing the basement. It was a huge, unexpected expense. They had to replace their ruined furnace. They had to replace their water heater. More thousands of dollars gone. Their finished basement, which had a small home office and a playroom for the kids, was totally destroyed. All that money and effort washed away. They had an emergency fund, but it wasn't nearly big enough for this. The stress was overwhelming. The Johnsons also experienced some water in their basement from that same storm. It was unavoidable. But their experience was completely different. They immediately called their insurance agent. Their agent was helpful. Their sewage and water backup coverage kicked in just like it was supposed to. The insurance company quickly sent out a professional cleanup crew. The policy paid for the necessary repairs. It paid for the replacement of their damaged items in the basement. Their only out-of-pocket cost was their manageable deductible. They had peace. A few months later, another problem hit the Smiths. A delivery person tripped on their front walkway. The walkway had a crack, damaged in that earlier storm. They hadn't fixed it yet. They were still struggling with the basement costs. The delivery person was injured and decided to sue the Smiths. Their minimal liability coverage on their cheap policy was not nearly enough to cover the potential claim. They were now facing a huge legal bill, and a possible judgment that could wipe them out. Another disaster. The Smiths learned a very hard lesson. A very, very expensive lesson. Their decision to buy cheap insurance ended up costing them tens of thousands of dollars. Money they didn't have. They had to take out a loan to cover all the repair costs and the legal fees. This just added more debt, more monthly payments, more stress to their already burdened lives. They thought they were being smart by saving a few bucks on premiums. Instead, they dug themselves into a deep financial hole. It's a sad story, but it happens all the time. The Johnsons, on the other hand, weathered the storm, both literally and financially. Their comprehensive insurance policy did exactly what it was designed to do. It protected them. Yes, they paid a higher premium each month. No one likes paying premiums. But when disaster struck, they were covered. Their total out-of-pocket costs were limited to their reasonable deductible. They didn't have to drain their savings account. They didn't have to go into debt. They had security. That is what good insurance buys you. Security and peace of mind. Think about this for a minute. Your home is probably your single biggest investment. It's your castle. Does it make any sense at all to protect that huge investment with the cheapest, flimsiest policy you can find? Absolutely not. That's like buying a brand new expensive car and then putting bald, worn-out tires on it. It just doesn't make good financial sense. You need to understand what you are buying when you buy insurance. You must know your coverage. So, what is the bottom line here, folks? It's simple. Don't be like the Smiths. Don't chase the lowest price tag blindly. Be like the Johnsons. Take the time. Do your homework. Carefully review your home insurance policy. Contact a famously friendly human at RightSure today. Pay for the protection you actually need. A little extra spent on the right insurance now can save you from financial devastation later. It's not just about saving a few dollars today, it's about protecting your entire financial future.